A new neighbor threatened to sue me if I didn't remove the fence, so I completely removed it. She came to me pleading to put it back because her house was destroyed. About 6 years ago, I decided to build a fence in my backyard. Nothing fancy, just a solid wood fence to give us some privacy and keep our dog from wandering. Before I started, I did the responsible thing and talked to my neighbors about it. We walked a property line together, based on some old survey pins from when the houses were built. The pins were there, but they were too cheap to hire a professional surveyor to confirm the exact line. Honestly, I didn't care much either. We eyeballed it, agreed on a spot that looked fair, shook hands, and I went ahead and built the fence. It was actually a great deal for them. I paid for all the materials, hired the crew, did all the work, and all they had to do was give me a thumbs up when it was done. They were thrilled. We were good neighbors for about a year after that. Then they sold their house, and that's when I met Anne. Anne was from the big city, worked as a realtor, and loved to mention that she'd flipped 8 houses in 12 years. She was loud, opinionated, and made it very clear that this house was going to be her forever home. She wasn't flipping this one, she was staying. She also had a dog, Razor, a German Shepherd mix that spent about 90% of the day outside while Anne went to work. That dog barked at everything. Kids walking by, squirrels, leaves blowing in the wind, you name it. Anne once told me Razor loved to chew furniture, which is why he stayed outside so much. I felt bad for the dog, honestly. For the first 6 months, things were fine. We waved at each other, made small talk about the weather, typical neighbor stuff. Then one afternoon, I'm coming home from work, and I see a guy with a surveyor's vest walking around my backyard. He's taking measurements, marking things down, really focused on the fence line. I didn't think much of it, figured maybe Anne was doing some landscaping or building a deck or something. The next day, she shows up at my front door. She's holding a stack of papers and has this tight little smile on her face. She tells me that according to the survey, my fence is encroaching on her property by 9 inches. 9 inches. She said I had 2 options. Either pay her for the land my fence is on, or move the fence back to the correct property line. No room for discussion. I explained the whole situation, told her about the handshake deal with the previous owners, how we agreed on the spot together, how I paid for everything. I even offered to show her where the old survey pins were. She cut me off. I don't care what deal you had with them. That's not my problem. The fence is on my property, and I want it moved, or you can pay me. Your choice. I asked how much she wanted. She said $1,500 for 9 inches of land. I told her I'd think about it. She said I had 1 week or she'd be contacting her lawyer. That night, I called a contractor buddy of mine, told him the whole story. He laughed and said, "So you want me to remove it?" I said, "Yeah, let's do it." Anne thought she was winning. She'd see me outside talking to the contractor, and she'd stand on her porch with her arms crossed, watching with this smug look on her face. She even waved at me once. I waved back. The crew showed up 3 days later and removed every single post, every board, every screw. Took them about 4 hours. My yard looked weird without it, but honestly, I didn't mind. My dog was old and didn't run anymore anyway. What Anne didn't realize, and what I didn't realize until after the fence was gone, was that the fence wasn't just sitting there. It was blocking wind, serious wind. Our houses are built on a hill, and her yard is right in the path of wind coming up from the valley. My fence had been acting as a windbreak for 6 years. 2 days after the fence came down, we got hit with a storm. Not a hurricane or anything, just a strong spring storm with heavy wind and rain. I'm inside watching TV, and around 8 at night, I hear this frantic pounding on my front door. I open it, and there's Anne. Her hair is everywhere, mascara running down her face, and she's soaking wet. She's literally shaking. "Please," she says, "you have to put the fence back. Please, I'll pay for it. I'll pay for everything." I asked her what happened. She started crying and said the wind destroyed her backyard. Her patio furniture had blown into her pool. Her brand new pergola collapsed. Her garden was completely shredded. And Razor? He got so freaked out by the wind that he bolted through the side gate she'd left open and ran off. She just spent 2 hours looking for him and finally found him 3 blocks away, hiding under someone's car. I just stood there and looked at her. Then I said, "I'm sorry, Anne. You wanted the fence gone. I can't afford to put it back now. You didn't want to pay me, and now I don't have the money." Her face went white. She started stammering, trying to backtrack, saying maybe we could work something out. I told her I'd think about it and closed the door. She knocked a few more times over the next week, but I didn't answer. Eventually, she stopped. 4 months later, there was a for sale sign in her yard. She moved out before winter hit. I heard she sold the house at a loss. I still haven't put the fence back up.